So we're looking, get your packet out. We're looking at number 11, systems of equations. We're calling this part B. It's the last, and I think I've only got like 3 slides, so it's just that one last topic that I didn't get time to chat about with you guys. Okay, and this one is called the elimination. You know, the other two that we went through is graphing and substitution, and then you should have yesterday been working on both of those 2 methods. Now we still can use the entire, if they're just looking for the answer, that's great. All you have to do is graphically do it on the graphing calculator, look for the intersection, make sure you can see that intersection, and then you do the G-solve for intersection, and you've got your answer. But they are asking other questions other than just that, what's the solution? They're asking questions on what would I do next in the steps. So that's why I want to make sure that you're seeing those steps of the different methods that are available. So, and like I was talking about with the other day, okay, so back on here, as we looked at the other day, I've got videos embedded in here. So if you look at your slides, there is a link to a video that will go through an easy problem, a link to the video that will go through a medium level problem, and a link to a video that will go through a difficult level problem. There is that one video in Delta that you'll walk through, but if you need additional assistance, you can also look at those 3 and work through those also. The concepts as we're doing this is we will multiply, if necessary, one or both equations by some constant, by some number, so that one of the terms, and cross out the word same, has opposite coefficients. It is much easier to always work with the opposite coefficients so that we're just focusing on adding the equations. I have found if we try to subtract the coefficients, we get confused much easier. So if we're just always looking for opposite coefficients, and then we go ahead and add them together. So getting it set up is that first step, and that the easy problems usually have it set up already. The medium problems, you only have to multiply one row, one equation in order to get it set up. The difficult ones, there isn't a real easy setup. So you have to multiply both equations in order to set it up so that you can do step 2 and step 3 and then get to step 4. So that difficult one, you're taking the most time on step 1. Then the second step is we add, cross out the word subtract, add the equations to eliminate one of the variables. As again, we're looking at that easy level, we can see right here that we have a positive 3y and a negative 3y. Well, if I add those together, they cancel each other out, they go away. 3 plus 3y minus 3y equals 0. And then I'd be left with a small little equation that's easily solved by my algebra skills. And then that is the step 3. Is to take and solve that small little equation. Once you've eliminated the variable, the one variable, all you should have left is a division or multiplication problem. So it's a one-step equation. You solve that, you get the one answer, either x or y. Then in the last part, you're actually doing the last step, same as the other method. You're substituting in, solving for that last piece. And as I had said previously, realistically, this is all work that you did also in the 8th and 9th grade. Okay, just a reminder, refresher, making sure we're on that right track. Okay, so here is one of an example, and this would be considered in my book a medium level, because as I look at it, for step 1, we're setting up the equation. We have to set up opposites. So there really hasn't been any notes until right now, so now you're writing some of this down. And I take a look at the top and the bottom, and I go, and there's 2 ways on this one that you could really approach it. I take a look, do I have any opposites? I've got a 5 and a negative a 5x and a negative 1x. I have a negative 4y and an 8y. The nice part is I have opposite signs on both y's and the x's. Excuse me. So I could approach it by getting these two to look like negative opposites, or I could approach it by getting these two to look like opposites. Either one will work, either one will get you to the right answer. Personally, I'm focused on the purple ones. Because for the purple ones, if I multiply the top equation by 2, I would get a negative 8 and a positive 8. It's a smaller number than if I go to the blue, I would have to multiply the bottom equation by a 5 to get a positive 5 and a negative 5. Again, it'll work both ways, but I like working with the smaller the number, the easier it's going to be for those numbers. So that first step is to actually multiply the entire equation, both sides. Remember, what we do for one, we do for the other, to keep that equal algebraically. I'm going to multiply the entire item by 2 all the way across. Now, technically, I would put a 2 on both sides and do it like this. So I've got a 2 on both sides, I've got parentheses on both sides. Most all of the students seem to just write the 2 in the very front. They've found that little shorthand. Mathematically, that shorthand doesn't work because we're not supposed to have that equals in there. But if you know what you're doing and you can follow along with this, I'm okay with that because that's supposed to be your work anyway. So I multiply that whole line. I distribute that all the way through. So I get 10x minus 8y equals 68. And then the bottom I don't have to do anything with. That was the whole goal. It's a medium level problem. We're just doing it on the one equation. So I'm going to leave that in black, and I'll just say, hey, that's a minus. I'm putting the 1 there, but that was just a hidden 1 anyway. Plus 8y equals 22. So then now we can easily see that I have that opposites. So step 1 is just setting it up that we have it. And so then now, step 2, I'm going to add the equations together. And when I'm adding them together, I'm literally adding down, that elementary math where we would work down and have those problems. So I've got 10x minus 1x is 9x. And then the negative 8y plus 8y, that's gone. That was the whole purpose of this, right? Was to eliminate that. So if we'd still have it, we didn't do what we were supposed to. So then that's gone. And over here, I have that's equal to 90 when I add those two up. So now, notice also, it's a one-step equation. That's what should happen when we do the elimination. So my next step is to solve that equation. Well, that's not too bad. I'm going to divide both sides by 9, and I get x equals 10. There's that one part of the answer, x equals 10. So then the last step, number 4, is to substitute. And this, again, same way as in previous times or in the previous substitution method, I'm going to take this x, and it doesn't matter which of the two original equations I want to put that in. I don't want to put it in my new improved purple equation on here from step 1 because that was just larger. You're working with larger numbers. So I want to say which one looks better, which one looks easier. The top one or the bottom one? It'll work either way. Logan, which one did you pick? Top or bottom? Bottom? Okay, that works. Okay. I probably would pick that too because it's, even though it's got that negative x, it doesn't have a coefficient, so it's going to keep the numbers smaller. But it'll work either way. So I'm going to write it down first. Negative x plus 8y is 22. Now I'm going to put my x in there. So that's a 10. Plus 8y equals 22. So that gave me a negative 10. So that means to get rid of the negative 10, I'm going to add 10. So I have 8y is equal to 32, because I added 10 to both sides. And then I just need to divide both sides by 8, and I'm dividing by 8. And I get y is equal to 4. So now I have both of my pieces, and I can write my actual answer, which would be that x solution first, the y solution second. Okay? So I walked through one, you might even get that one on Delta. So I walked through one example from Delta. It looks like most of the deltas that you will be using are either a level 1 or a level 2. But the idea is, if they said solving but with elimination, what would be your next step? You've got a little bit of practice so that you understand how to do this and what to do. So you should be continuing to work on Delta 11. Watch the videos, do the problems. You should have taken some of the notes. With this, it lends itself to be making sure that you're doing some scratch work so that's able to get you those extra 3 points. And this is a longer assignment, so we've got 3 days of the Delta math entirely. Okay? Thanks.